owner of Salt Raw Bar and Leena's Kitchen in Plymouth, Mass. Johnny, so good to see you, man.
You too, brother. You too.
I'm excited to talk with you. I know we're going to talk mentorship and leadership. It's something that we talked about a lot in your podcast episode. Side note, go to thebestservedpodcast.com or our Facebook page or wherever you get your podcast and listen to the episode with Johnny. It's amazing. And I'm excited to talk to you some more because your energy and the way you think about people is really important. That was clear months ago when we talked and years ago when we first met. And now it's the only thing, the most important thing. So we're going to get into that a little bit, I'm sure. Take us back. It's been over 2 weeks now. It seems like it's been an eternity.
Yeah, same thing. It seems like a long time ago.
Yeah. You're in Massachusetts, Boston especially. We heard stories early on was where a lot of things were popping off in those first days. And your governor shut things down very quickly. Talk about those first days. What happened with your restaurants, with your employees, and kind of your ability to pivot in that moment?
Right. So, I mean, we were kind of watching the news and I was seeing what was happening and just kind of, I knew it was going to happen. I mean, I was talking to my partners and like, man, this is, we need to talk about this. And, you know, they were a little unsure at first, like, yeah, it's just a flu, man, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, nah, I have a feeling this is something else. And even hopefully it isn't, but let's plan for what the worst scenario could possibly be. And then, you know, it would seem like every 5-6 hours, more information would be coming out as we were glued to the TV. And, you know, it just ended up going in that direction. So we got notification a few days before they were going to do it that we were going to have to be shut down. And, you know, some people were advertising, come party with us one last time, And I, you know, I was like, man, no, we can't do that. We need to start thinking about what we got to do for our people and for our businesses, not about make an extra buck before we get shut down. Because I just, again, had this feeling that it was going to be what it's turned into. So again, luckily our governor was proactive as far as, you know, social distancing and shutting down, unfortunately, these businesses that people gather at, and we being one of them. So we just instantly went into, all right, what are we going to have to do? And we knew we were going to be able to do takeout. So we just started planning that. And then unfortunately, the other aspect of it is what are we going to do with our people, which was the hardest conversation. You know, how many people can we keep on? What are we going to do? You know, how do we protect our business, but how do we also protect our people? And just started planning from there.
Yeah. And so how many people is that for you between your locations?
So between the two restaurants, I mean, all I have still working right now is me, 2 of my chefs, and 1 bartender. So, I mean, that's 30 plus people we had to let go.
Wow. And so you guys are working still at Leena's Kitchen, right? And you guys are doing curbside, and you got a couple people at least on. And I want to touch on one of those people because in your episode, you talked about your proudest moment of your career was not too long ago when your sous chef and chef de cuisine won a local cooking competition at a brewery. And I was just, I was fucking floored by that. I was so excited that was your proudest moment as kind of a proud Papa chef. And one of them is still working with you. Just talk about how important it is to sustain that relationship and just cook for people right now.
Well, I mean, even for me personally, you know, selfish. I mean, it makes me feel normal having, especially, you know, Rob there with me because he's been basically by my side for 7 years, you know, and having that little bit of sense of normal routine. I mean, I still get to go into work and cook every day. And that for me, I mean, it's therapy. It makes it seem a little more normal for me. And I think, you know, we're taking the ability to kind of step back and think about where life is going to go and how we fit into that with our businesses, with what food's going to be. But, you know, it's just the hardest thing to have to call all these people that are scared, have no idea what's going on, and be like, sorry, you don't have a job tomorrow. You know, so we've just tried to be as good as we can and offer them any kind of tools we can. So, I mean, we're feeding them every single day. So we send out a message every day that we're doing family meal, whatever it may be, as simple as a pasta dish or whatever we're kind of working on or have, just so they at least have something to look forward to and know that they can get a meal. I mean, I've been lucky that Most of the people that work for me haven't been in a dire situation as far as not being able to get food or anything like that. At least not that they've communicated with me, but we're at least trying to do that. So they have that option, and then it's kind of like the highlight of the day, their little bit to get out and come pick up, curbside pickup. And even if, my bartender Bree is just bringing it out with gloves and a mask on, at least it's like, hey, you're just, what's going on today?
Something, crack a joke real quick, like anything. I think.
Something.
And for you, it seems it's funny because it's a little thing and it's the biggest thing, right? In this moment, a little thing like making a pasta dish, yet having that be the most important part of your day, of their day, it means a lot. And I think it can't be minimized how important that is, because right now all we have is these relationships. Like that's it. We don't have our daily grind that, chums us up, yet it also is what we do. And so I think it's really important that you guys are feeding them and just having that small interaction. Are you guys on a group thread? Is it email? How are you guys communicating?
Yeah, so we have a group text message between both restaurants. So it's funny. It's kind of a different vibe.
I was about to say, I bet the meme game is strong on there.
It is. So it's good. I mean, we're not big restaurants, so it's even more of a tight-knit kind of family. And, you just get so, you take it for granted, these people you see every single day sometimes. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you can't touch, you can't be near anybody. So, if food makes you feel somewhat connected, like it always does, it's even more important now than ever.
It truly, truly is. All right. You also mentioned something, and I want to hover on this for a little while because I have been fielding questions and comments and rants and feeling a lot of pain around unemployment. I know we all have. And then also for the businesses, a lot around all these acronyms I'm supposed to know, like CARES Act and PPP and SBA and EIDL. Like, the fuck is all this, man? It's mind-numbing. We are a human interaction community, right? And so being taken away from that has been really challenging, and then being put into a system that, unfortunately, the process is slightly disconnected and inhumane in the way that there's very little interaction.
Right.
However, I have a lot of empathy for the people working on the other side. And you mentioned some things that you did internally and things that are happening in Massachusetts that I want to talk about a little bit. So why don't you just go into what you guys did for your staff?
Sure. So once we came to the realization of what we unfortunately were going to have to do was a mass layoff, we luckily have a great payroll company that also does human resources for us, so we can call them and ask them any kind of questions. So we immediately went to them of like, okay, what is this going to be like? What does this look like? What do we have to do? I mean, even as far as like, how do we get it so they can collect unemployment and stop our payroll service at a certain time so it's faster, and like the governor here waives, you usually have to wait 2 weeks before you can put a claim in. That got waived right away. But what we did is, so we talked to our payroll company, and then we did, we got everybody on a call at the same time in a Zoom call, that we had our payroll guy basically give them right away an explanation of what was happening and how they need to go about their next steps of being able to get on unemployment. Connection directly to the website, a number to call, and then also the ability to call our payroll company if they hit any snags, just to kind of get talked through it. Because it is. I mean, you go on thing and it's like, oh, your password from 7 years ago when you did unemployment is whatever. And it's, I know a few people ran into, they said they didn't work enough hours in order to hit an unemployment claim, which is working 50, 60 hours a week. So it's complete bogus. But then just kind of me talking to people, my other chef talking to people, fielding questions, but like, think about it, man. X amount of million people just got laid off today, and they're all doing the same thing, and they're all calling like crazy. So I think it was 50 people are usually on a line in order to talk to all of Massachusetts about, unemployment claims. And again, our governor being doing a lot of good things, went to 500 plus people on a teleconference kind of center, that they are now fielding this overwhelming amount of calls and being able to get things rolling quicker. But that first week was tough. I mean, people were scared, and it's, in Massachusetts has been good about getting things rolling right away.
That's really great. And so you guys are doing curbside at Leena's Kitchen. So anybody in Plymouth, please go get something from Leena's. Like, keep these people working. I don't even know if working is what I'm most excited about when I hear you talking about being at Leena's Kitchen. It's therapy. It's like being able to go and cook. Talk about that a little bit. Just the pure emotion. You mentioned that you just get to be in the corner making pizza, and I could just see the smile on your face. Like,
Yeah.
I could make a fucking pizza is like the greatest moment of your life. Reflect on that a little bit.
I've just been able to, I've been able to slow down, step back, and just do why I did this in the first place, which is cook and try to make people happy. I just started a pizza program at Leena's, a couple months ago. So I've been still, tweaking dough and doing all these things. So that's, again, it's been this normal thing for me to kind of cope with everything that's going on, that I can throw myself into food. And just, again, like you said, the joy of cooking your pizza. I'm just completely happy cooking as many pizzas as I can and getting some great feedback on it. Everyone likes pizza, so that's why it's been cool. It's it's in a way, it's been a whole nother way for me to advertise what we do, and also just work on new ideas. But cooking, man, I just get to cook. I get to slow down, cook pizza, and think about the fact that it's bringing comfort to people that are coming out and picking up from us.
There's two different distinct stories that I hear. Actually, it's interesting in unemployment as well. Either people like, it took me 20 minutes, or I've been on 4 straight days for 3 hours. Like, it seems like there's nothing in between, or maybe just the people in between aren't sharing.
Right.
And then also with curbside. With curbside, I'm hearing a couple different things. I hear either it's the most gracious and kind that guests have ever been upon receiving anything from a restaurant.
Yep.
And that like warms me. And then on the flip side, some fucking asshole doing a Yelp review because their delivery was kind of cold right now. It's just the polarization of everything happening right now is crazy. You see people go to who they truly are. Are you truly a kind person that cares for people? Or are you just an asshole? And it's being kind of revealed right now. Maybe talk about that. Have you had either situation? How great is it when your bartender comes back in takes the mask down for a second, big smile on their face because somebody just like thanked them so graciously?
Well, I've been saying to my wife from the get-go, you're going to see the best of mankind, and you're going to see the worst. And that's just how it goes. Luckily, Plymouth, Massachusetts is just a great town. Massachusetts is a great state. We have a lot of happy people. And honestly, I really haven't seen the negative side of that. It's been a lot of our customers, whether they come 3 times a week or once a month, like calling and saying, hey, we're coming in, getting some food. And they've just been happy because it's giving them a sense of normal as well. So it's been overwhelmingly positive. We had maybe one guy that was a little annoyed because it took a little longer than he thought at curbside pickup. And it's like, hey, man, everyone's still calling at 7 o'clock. Sorry. And but it's because I ask Bree every time she, a lot when she comes in, hey, how's people happy? People happy? And like, they're very happy. And, there's a lot of communication between restaurants in here and our chefs. And we're just, we're talking about what we're doing. Hey, man, I got your curbside today. It was killer. And just having that kind of conversation, we're trying to support each other as a community. And, it's hard times bring people closer. And that's what seems to be happening for us.
Yeah, we see hope and fear playing out, and people react differently. So I'm excited when I hear people showing that level of kindness. I'm frustrated, at the same time empathetic when I hear people just kind of reverting to letting that fear kind of consume them.
Right.
And we are such the connective tissue. You are so embedded in the community in a way that's playing out now like it never has before. And I'm sure that you're seeing that because right now you're not just let's go out on Friday night and go get some oysters at Salt, and see if Johnny's working. It's like, I need to be nourished, my soul, my mind, my body, all of it. And where am I going to go to get something that's going to make me feel normal, to your point, or okay? It's there. And so do you feel that sense of responsibility, not just for not just for yourself and your family, which is important. And I know you got the kids outside playing. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Don't worry, people. We're talking about what the kids are doing right now because I'm excited. But to your staff, clearly was important, to the team working there today that you can keep employed, and then to the guests. Where and how do you see your sense of responsibility within that ecosystem, that community?
Well, I mean, it's extremely important. I mean, I get to get out of my house. I'm an essential worker, right? So we take that our routine is a little more normal. I mean, if I love my family, but if I was stuck in my house for weeks and weeks and weeks with not having, it's I can only imagine how that is. So we talk about
it. Mostly for them, right? Mostly for them. They're like, get this guy out of here.
So it's, we talk about it every day. It's like, hey, we get to cook for people today. We get to make people happy. And, like you said, we get to nourish people, and we always take it very seriously, but right now it just has this other whole tone and feel to it. I mean, just the risks involved with it. I mean, I've had some other people that had to shut their restaurants down because someone got sick, and what that means, and we talk about that too. All right, what do we do if we think someone's going to get sick, and how we responsibly do that? And it's just, that's the conversation. So it's, making sure that we're receiving food and we're sanitizing things, and how we're acting throughout the whole restaurant and how we're bringing out to people. We just made sure we set up a protocol right away, because again, it's, if whatever comes in and has the virus on it, I give it to somebody who's in that age group and they get sick, and we're seeing what happens. I mean, it's heavy. It's heavy, and we take it seriously, but it's the ability to still serve our community. And we've been trying to make food and drop it off at the hospitals just for us to be saying thank you for what you're doing. We're going to do that today. We usually do it every Tuesday. We've been starting to do it, bring some food in the beginning of the week, obviously on us, no charge, just to, feed the community. And, but then on the flip side, like the fire department keeps showing up and buying from us and saying, hey, thank you. They had a whole thing that they raised money that they're going to go to different restaurants throughout the community and just spend $1,000. So that's the kind of community I live in. And it's really special. Again, you're seeing the best of people and how they can come together and try to support each other when people are scared and people are nervous and businesses are going to close. And we're just doing whatever we can to do what we do, which is make food, and hopefully come out on the other side of this in a better position, in a better light, and, hire everybody back and try to make an even stronger community.
So how practically are you communicating right now? And I ask because we're talking about this a lot in hospitality. We're slow on the uptake with social media. We think that people on their phones is bad. They're taking pictures of the food. Yet now we're realizing the way that we communicate is shifting and needs to shift. And also now it's the only way you can get the message across that you're open for curbside. And I see a lot of the people and businesses that have built community are doing well, and the ones that haven't are struggling to try and break through all the white noise. So I'm very interested in that. How are you getting the word out, and how has those lines of communication been maybe evolved, or how are you leaning on the strengths that you've already had?
Right. I mean, it's, I've known that communication has been changing. Social media, the necessity of it, as much as it makes me uncomfortable, I mean, doing this is a stretch for me,
You're old school, man.
Yeah, I'm the beginning of the millennial. I mean, in the early 80s. So I've, seen still turning knobs on TVs. But it's essential. So our social media game has been pretty strong, and we've been constantly working on getting better at that. The thing that I think has been great is our staff that is home. They always do share stuff, but even more so, they're commenting on things. They're reposting things. My wife has been home on the computer. Whenever we have something, she blasts it on every page and every network or group that can possibly see it. And just, again, rethinking what marketing is and how we get the word out there to stay busy. And we've seen it, week one, we were doing a few pizzas, some pastas. And then this week it was like, hey, we got to rethink our business model when we reopen. We're doing a lot of takeout. How do we keep this going? and obviously that's all communicating what we're doing. So lots of photos of the food, talking about what we're doing, different things that are coming up. I mean, we're doing a whole like family meal thing for Easter. They were doing larger packages of food, and just trying to keep on evolve and communicate how we. So it's obviously we can't be out talking to people about it, so it's all social media.
Yeah, I like hearing that, and I want to definitely circle back and throw some links into any of the things you see that are supporting the community, like you mentioned, the firefighters, because I think that's really important. And you're seeing these tight-knit communities or these communities that weren't so tight-knit really, really coming together. And I noticed that being where the opportunity is to continue to kind of flourish. And I really like what you're saying about rethinking the model, because it's challenging for us to even think about the notion of changing our business models, because it's been so ingrained in us for so long.
Right.
So I appreciate that that's something that you're talking about. All right. I want to tell people about what's happening outside of your house right now, because it made me smile when you said, when I told you, it's like kids come running inside. Let's just go with it. That's this is all about just being real. And it's happened multiple times. So that, what are the kids doing outside right now?
Kids are outside chasing chicken around. Just chasing chickens. Yeah, you know, I mean, it's beautiful today, yesterday, and so got the kids outside. We were gardening yesterday. Just started to do things outside to, you know, get ready for springtime. So, you know, it's just been running around, screaming like banshees, and playing with the chickens.
I love it. Now the boys have been asking me every episode what we talked about. I'm gonna tell them that your kids are playing with chickens, and all of a sudden now I'm gonna have to figure out how to get some chickens up here in Denver. I appreciate that. So that's keeping the kids occupied. What else? What's on your playlist? What do you listen to? Give some people some ideas of some things to maybe binge on a little bit, as we have entirely too much time on our hands right now.
Sure. So I mean, musical tastes and my personality in general is all over the place. So at home, it's been nothing but TikTok dance videos, you know, jumping around with the kids. So Bright Lights by the Weekend has been on repeat in this house because my 6-year-old daughter just loves it. We've been dancing. At work, it's a mixture of, you know, thrash death metal. Someone gives me a like, what the hell are you listening to back there? Why am I so angry today? To I'm doing a lot of wave electronic music. Like this is Band the Dead, which is like a perfect mix of 80s synth music and metal guitars. So I've been listening to that on Spotify. And then, you know,
I like it. I like the TikTok videos with the kids, and then you got thrash metal and synth wave on the other side.
Yeah.
Everything on this show is about the reality of contradictions and how that's just what is. And that's also what's playing out as being quite beautiful in this moment. And so I appreciate you being on the show, and a shout out to Mrs. Sheehan, because when you were mentioning that, she is a hustler for sure. I see her active all the time. And every time we do something together, she is posting it, and she is an expert promoter for you. You should hire her as your manager if you haven't already, but for the industry as a whole. I really appreciate that. And Johnny, as I knew, we'd be talking about mentorship, leadership, because that's who you are. And I appreciate you doing that in mass and setting a good example for the rest of us. So thanks for being on the show.
Hey, thanks, man. Thank you for doing what you're doing. You know, bringing up conversations and bringing people together. I mean, you're in Colorado, I'm in Massachusetts, but we're all dealing with the same craziness. And
that's
the more conversations, the more humanity you bring to it, the better it is for all. So thanks, my friend.
I appreciate that, because I'm just a communicator, and right now this is the only way that I know how to communicate. And so I appreciate it if it brings value to one human in hospitality. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity, and I take it seriously. So I appreciate it, man. Have a great day.
All right.
Cheers. Johnny Sheehan. Great name, like superhero caliber name, and just a really good dude and leader and mentor. And so I had to have him on because I was interested in the perspective from Massachusetts, what's going on out there. I'm glad to hear that there's some empathy for what's happening on both sides of the equation within unemployment. Also very excited that he has some belief in what's happening from the government level, because I hear both sides of that as well. People being very disappointed in their leadership and some people being very inspired by that. So I'm glad that that's happening in Massachusetts. I feel similarly here in Denver, in Colorado. And, you know, that's what he's talking about. It's just about those small little relationships that we have, and the fact that he can feed his staff in that one moment of the day, it like really matters. It really matters. So I'm so grateful to every single operator out there that is still in the trenches, that's being smart and safe. Make sure that that is at the top, the tippy top of what's happening, because keeping people employed, important. Keeping people fed, important. Having those moments of normalcy, as Johnny said, important. Keeping people safe, the most important. So let's keep that top of mind. So thank you to Johnny for sharing with us. Tune back in here in about 35 minutes at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. That is 1 on the East, 10 a.m. on the West. I'm going to have on Cher Hovind, who is the Chief Communications Officer and the Deputy Executive Director of the Colorado Department of Labor and Employment. We're going to talk about what's happening. For me, the goal is to humanize this whole process throughout every level of this process. And so bringing a face and a name and a voice to this conversation was really, really important. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak with her. I've aggregated a lot of questions, comments, and concerns over the last 2 weeks that I've been fielding to try and have a meaningful conversation over 30 minutes. I mean, how much can we really do in 30 minutes? But to have somebody on the other side of this equation to be able to work with us is going to be really important throughout this process. So that's what I want to bring to the table for you today. So tune in for that. And then if you don't check that out, check back in tomorrow. Got some great episodes. We have a lot of fun. We're going to have Scott and Dustin from Lunches for Clinicians doing some great work feeding our frontliners, who are the most important. Johnny said essential, and restaurant workers are essential. These are mission critical people, and I'm so grateful for them for doing this, and even more grateful for the people out there working on those front lines. So thank you to them, as well as Mark Rubenstein, who is with On Call Restaurant Accounting, and we're going to dig more into, again, those acronyms that I barely understand: CARES Act, SBA, PPP, EIDL. It's crazy. And those should be informational episodes for sure. So thank you as always. I appreciate you. I will check back in with you in a little bit. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to blabber on and share stories. It's really been therapy for me, just like cooking that pizza has been therapy for Johnny. Cheers.